Hi everyone, I'm Brianna and welcome to All Initiative. And if this is your first time watching my videos, then hi. I am a small creator dedicated to teaching people how to play D&D and how to improve their games. And today I'm going to be showing you all my favorite house rules for combat. So, let's get started. Okay, the first thing that I want to make clear is that I don't use any of these house rules as an all the time thing. They're all things that I use quite often, but not all the time, just to speed things up, make things run a bit smoother, and of course, to vary combat and make it more exciting. Anyway, let's have a look at my first house rule. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll raise a monster's attack, but lower its HP. That way it's a really dangerous enemy and it'll do a lot of damage in a short amount of time, but it won't last a long time and it'll be a very quick combat encounter. I really like this because it keeps combat feeling dangerous because they're doing a lot of damage, but it's also over quickly and not dragged out. Because I have quite a large table, so combat can take quite a while, so this can really help to keep it a bit short. Although I use this mainly for smaller bad guys, minions, or random monsters that they fight, not for anyone important like my main boss, his lackeys, and, main antagonist NPCs and such. Now, I've done another video on my favorite house rules, and if you've watched that, then you've probably heard this one before, but it's still one of my favorites, and it's for combat, so. But anyway, how this one goes is you give a monster two armor classes, its normal one and a lower one for a weak spot. That way, it makes combat a little more complex, and I think it also helps with some of the players that have trouble hitting higher armor classes, as they're given a smart solution to getting an easier target. This is a more recent house rule that I've come up with, and it's a bit of an add on from the last one. So, pretty much how it goes is using the same house rule for weak points from before, but adding to it so that that weak point is hidden or covered, whether it's by armor or something more natural like a shell. Now, you have to find or uncover the weak spot before you can take advantage of it. Maybe you need to break its armor or shell first. I thought this would be pretty great for increasing the strategy of combat, as you have to think more about taking down the enemy. I'd probably still use this mainly for larger monsters or bosses, as it makes more sense and you don't really need that much help taking down smaller enemies. And when you have a lot of smaller enemies, it's a whole lot harder to keep track of. Whereas having one really difficult large bad guy is much easier, and this rule is super satisfying. This next one I use mainly for speeding things along or stopping things from getting overcomplicated, and I mainly use it for guards. It's a fairly simple, customizable rule where pretty much instead of doing a full out combat when they're just trying to take out some guards, I let them roll to try and knock the guards out instead of killing them, and they don't even need to enter initiative. The main way I do this is rolling for what specifically they're trying to do. If they're, say, jumping off something high to land on the guards to knock them out, then that would probably be dexterity. Whereas if they're just creeping up behind the guards and hitting them over the head, then that would probably be strength. Or you could mix this up and have them make an actual attack roll to see if they hit the guard and then see how much damage they do. And depending if they do a certain amount of damage, depends whether they knock out the guard or not. And this next one is pretty simple. I let my players draw and sheath as many weapons as they want on their turn. I just find it helps the flow of combat, it makes more sense, and the other way can get very annoying and lead to some very unrealistic fixes. like throwing your weapons on the ground. So, yeah, I don't really have much more of an explanation for that one, and it's pretty much either you like it or you don't. But I really hope something here was useful, and that maybe if you enjoyed the video, you'd consider liking it or maybe even subscribing to my channel. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.